Hello, my name is Brittany Bradford, and this is my WIN grant proposal for obtaining Octopus watches for the students enrolled in the Intensive Independent Readiness Classroom. This project is proposed for the students enrolled in the Intensive Independent Readiness Program, or IRC. All students have an individualized educational plan, or IEP, and students have a variety of disabilities and needs. All students are working on building independence in their daily living skills or life skills and in academics. A major struggle for a majority of my students is transitioning from one activity to another and one location to another. All of my students currently have visual picture schedules, which is where the student takes a visual picture, which is usually laminated and velcroed, off of their visual schedule and carries it to their next location and or activity. As I stated before, transitioning for my students is really challenging, especially with transitioning without additional prompts from an adult. I am applying for a WIN grant through the Ball Chatham Educational Foundation. My project proposal is to purchase 6 Octopus watches for the students enrolled in the Intensive Independent Readiness Classroom. These watches will support my students as they learn to transition throughout their day independently. The students will card for each and every activity that my students do. Even when we have special activities, I have to come up with an icon or some type of card that symbolizes that activity. Whereas with the watch, I'll be able to pre-program it. I would be able to do that within minutes, saving not only my time as a teacher, but also the students' ability to be able to be more detailed in their schedules, which will then promote more independence in their transitioning. The number of students impacted will currently be 6 students. Now these watches could go with those 6 students as they go on throughout their educational system. So students enrolled in my program typically stay in, because of their IEPs, they stay in up until their 22nd birthday. So these watches will could not only help them at the elementary level, but could also help them for the next few years. Or the watches may stay within my elementary classroom when they leave, if they're able to no longer need that service. The cost, including shipping, is only $432.10. Again, these watches will support my students and enrich their days by not only saving time and materials, but also helping them build that independent skill of being able to transition from one activity to the next. Instruction will be provided for each of the students on how to utilize the Octopus watch throughout their day. The learning standard that will be addressed is a social-emotional learning standard, and it is Goal 1, develop self-awareness and self-management skills to achieve school and life success. The objectives will all be individualized due to my students' individualized needs and nature of my programming. Students' objectives will be varying from making sure that they are leaving the watch on to being able to transition independently with the watch. Some materials needed will be the Octopus watch for each of the students that's charged and pre-programmed with their individualized schedule, and then printed icon pictures that label the different areas that match the icon that are within the student's watch, and also some data sheet for staff to be able to collect daily data, as well as the Octopus app that also collects the data from the watches. A lesson that will be provided for all of my students on multiple occasions will be just some explore and trying on the watch, getting comfortable with the watch, learning the different areas of the watch and how it works and what it does. Also, my students will be introduced to all the icon pictures that the watch may present. I'll also introduce the different ways to wear the watch, because I know that some of my students may struggle with the plastic bands that come with the Octopus watch. But since the Octopus watch has interchangeable bands, I'll make sure that we have some extra bands that are of different materials so that my students may be more comfortable with that based on their sensory needs. The assessment for these watches will be through their daily data that is taken from staff and from the app, and that'll be combined to see how the student is meeting their individualized objectives. These are just some of the references that I used in the creation of this project.